Hey guys, so as I assume anyone with a calendar already knows, it's April 30th today, which means we're heading into May. A quarter of the baseball season is already done, and here I am to give you a quick video on some players that I think are going to frustrate you going into the next month of baseball. Okay, so number one is Trevor Story. I've got 4 really important stats for anyone that's still defending Story right now and thinks that he can have a great season. So the first one, he's got a 32.1% strikeout rate against lefties. That's one reason that's really letting him down at the plate. Number 2, he is first in the league in fly ball rate. That's 68.1%. Number 3 is his hard hit rate, which is 27.7%. And guess who's above him? Josh Reddick and Elvis Andrus. They're 2 players that you don't want above a power hitter like Story. And finally, he's hit only 8 ground balls and 7 line drives all season. So pretty much he's just hitting everything in the air, doesn't have enough power to get it over the fence, and he's struggling with his swing. His swing mechanics are looking pretty off too. If his elbow and his hip aren't coming through fluidly in one motion, I think his timing is always off on the ball. So I think Trevor Story is going to have another pretty rough month at the plate. Second on the list is Ryan Healy. He's the kind of guy where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you start him, he's really bad. He probably goes 0 for 4 and strikes out all week. And then if you sit him on your bench, he does absolutely everything that you wanted him to do, and he hits for great numbers. Obviously with Healy though, we can't judge him too quickly. He's still very raw, still very unexperienced at the plate. He's got 18 strikeouts against righties, which is really surprising when I found that number, and he's not walking either. He's had time off for his slump, but I suggest you give him time off in your lineup as well if you can afford to bench him. Next on this list is Jose Bautista. I've spoken about him before, so I won't speak about him for too long this time. He's got an average exit velocity of 88.22 miles per hour. That's down 6 miles per hour than the previous season, and he's batting for a 111 average against all fastballs. So that pretty much tells you the story with Bautista. And he's swinging at less pitches overall than he was in 2014 or 15, so he's not even giving himself any opportunity to put up any numbers. Next up on the list is Dansby Swanson. It was pretty unfair for us to expect him to turn around as quickly as Trey Turner has, but obviously his 172 BABIP is a pretty big concern. It's 4th lowest in the league. Above him is Jose Reyes, just to put things into perspective for you, and he's making 78% contact with balls down the middle of the plate, which doesn't really make sense. So I guess he's been a little bit unlucky, but he probably needs some more time in the minors. He's got an 87 average on 2-2 counts this season, so he's not scoring with men in position, and he's not hitting and showing great plate discipline at all. So a stint in the minors might be inevitable for him, and unfortunately that's some more bench time for one of your players in your lineup. Next up is Tommy Joseph. I was really wrong on this guy. I told a lot of people to draft him because I thought some more playing time would be great for him. Unfortunately, it hasn't turned out like that. He's been sitting out a lot of games this year, and he's had 18 strikeouts in 18 games. So again, he's sitting out on Saturday for the Phillies, and personally I'd rather have Greg Bird at this point. He just hasn't produced at all, and I don't know what to do with him. Maybe they put him in the minors again, maybe they give him some more time off, but this Tommy Joseph thing isn't looking great for anyone. Next up is Eric Hosmer. I've spoken about him a lot on Twitter, I've spoken about him a lot in other videos, but I just can't get my head around his ground ball rate. It's 61.1%, which is 3rd worst in the league, but really, who wants any part of the Royals offense right now? They're batting a 207 average, that's the worst in the league, and it's the same thing as last year. He's got a 17.65 whiff percentage on breaking balls. That's the same thing as the last couple of months in 2016, and really he's not showing any improvement at the plate. So this is probably going to be a really long year if you're invested in Hosmer and you don't want to drop him. Rolling right along is Kenta Maeda. He looked a lot better last night against the Phillies, but I think a lot of people dropped him last week against the D-backs when he gave up 6 earned runs. He's been relying on his fastball a lot more than he normally does, and he's got a soft contact rate which has gone from 20% last year right down to 13% this year, which is pretty alarming for someone of his prowess, I guess. He's someone that I'd probably still hold on to, but he may have another rough month, and he might be someone that you want to bench in any kind of matchup until he shows that he can right the ship a little bit. And as the frustrations continue to roll along, here's Mark Trumbo. The number one guy that should probably be on this list. I don't even know where to start with him. Is his swing different? I don't really know. It looks different to me, but he's looked so streaky. He has a 25.3% K rate. He was 6th in barrels last season, and now he's ranked incredibly low with guys like Dansby Swanson and Freddie Galvis. So he's looked pretty awful at the plate. He's hard to trust right now. You know, he can hit that odd home run that makes him look like someone that's going to put up another 40 home runs, but really he's in his 30s, mid-30s, and he's not someone that I'd be trusting at all. So I think the ship has really sailed for Mark Trumbo. Second last is Jake Arrieta. If you saw him in Boston last night, you're probably really scared like I was. He gave up 5 earned runs in the first inning. He gave up only 7 earned runs in the entire 2016 season in the first inning. So that's a really concerning thing. His velocity is down 2 miles per hour on all of his pitches, and I guess his ERA probably won't be under 3 this year. Finally, Jose Quintana is on this list to round it out. A lot of people are still defending him for good reason. I think we overrated him a little bit in the offseason though, and the main reason he's on this list is because of the White Sox schedule. I think they have the D-backs, the Tigers, the Mariners and the Red Sox all through May, so that's a lot of tough hitting matchups, and he's just walking way too many guys. The pressure of replacing Chris Sale has completely gotten to him, and I know his ERA is probably a little bit more inflated than he looks, but that's someone still that could struggle next May. So if you like this video, guys, let me know. Follow me on Twitter at RyanCook13. Any questions, feel free to ask them. Thanks.